Thanks for tuning in to the Medevac Podcast, powered by the Robert Irvine Foundation, whose mission is to support and strengthen the physical and mental well-being of our nation's heroes and their families. I'm one of your hosts, David Reid.
And I'm your other host, Christian Meyers. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Medevac Podcast. If you're new here, there's a price for the show. You have to share it with a friend or family member if you're getting something out of today's episode. And we have some fantastic returning guests today. If you've not seen them on the show before, they've been on at least twice before. Once?
I have once, and
First time
You've been
ever.
on twice now?
yeah, I've been on twice.
Yeah,
It's
twice.
this is our first time.
Sandy's first time.
Oh,
Yes.
Newbie.
Oh, this is true. Please welcome Simon and Sandy Garcia. You can see Simon's two previous episodes. Yeah, this is the third appearance. Yeah, so you can see Simon's two previous episodes. If you scroll back, learn a little bit about his history, learn about the Dirt Therapy Project, because they're both Texas chapter leads for an amazing nonprofit called the Dirt Therapy Project, who we've partnered with in a multitude of ways through Terra Arma, through the Robert Irvine Foundation. We've done some really fun things together. And I think we're going to do something fun again this year.
Veterans Day, November
Veterans
8th.
Day. Yeah, we're going to do some downhill mountain biking again,
That's
huh?
right, Spider Mountain.
We've done that the last couple of years. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. And we all just returned from the Yomp together. And if you're not familiar with what that is, we're going to tell you about it. So without further ado, thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on today.
Excellent to have you.
So, I mean, what we really wanted to talk about was this grueling 54-mile hike through the Scottish Highlands, right? It's a program that the Robert Irvine Foundation has been doing. I've participated in it myself in the last 11 years on this thing. Do I go to 54 every time? No, I do not. And we'll dive into why that is, because it is very challenging, right? But what was unique is Simon, you came in as a mentor this year. Last year was your first time participating, going to Gold, the 54 miles. And Sandy, it was your first time joining us this year. And you guys did it together. So I kind of want to get your opinion. What is the Yomp to you? What does it mean? And kind of how that trip unfolded for you.
So the Yomp to me, I mean, last year was a life-changing experience in the way of, personally, spiritually, on many different levels. But an added part to that was being able to do it with so many individuals that are like-minded and at the same time kind of going through their own stuff from different countries, and just to share that experience and kind of go through that grueling experience at various levels, whether it's 22 to 54. There's something, especially in the Scottish Highlands, which seems like another planet, honestly. The foliage and everything is so unique. And there's just something special about putting yourself through a challenge and then kind of learning about yourself in real time. And then this year, I get to do it, with my wife. And we had some injuries that set us back and what have you, but we still worked through it. And I'm pretty sure she'll. Yeah, but I can only go so far. It's something you have to experience for yourself. And if your heart is open, your mind is open, and you're kind of just willing to just absorb, whether from the stories from others or yourself or the land, it's something special.
Yeah, it's definitely unique out there. I'll tell you that. And the weather really could get you too. And you guys got hit by some pretty good rain right after bronze, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah. So the way this hike works is you got three segments to it. You got the bronze, you got the silver, and you got the platinum. Right. Or the gold, sorry. 20. They say, Scottish miles are a real thing, right?
Yes.
Scottish miles are a real thing. They're a lot longer. But you got about 22 it was 25 miles this year, by the way, to bronze. Then you got the 36 miles, which is your silver. And then your gold is 54 miles. And you're usually doing that in the dark. So you got 24 hours to complete this thing. And you guys got some really bad weather that turned in right after bronze. So can you walk through your vision of that? And this was your first experience with it. So what did you think? What did you feel going into it? Was this just going to be a quick hike for you?
So, going into it, I had somewhat of a picture of the experience based on what Simon told me last year. And just the incredible achievement that was for him. And so this year going into it, I was like, I'm going to train as well as I can, but not be too hard on myself. So then we started hiking more earlier in the year. And then in March on one of our 9-mile hikes, just my knee started hurting and I had to just take it easy from there. So instead of allowing myself to get really stressed out about the injury, I just was like, well, what can I do? So I focused on just recovery, nutrition, sleep, supplements, but still moving. I think at the time we were only able to do the jiu-jitsu and MMA. That was the only thing that wasn't irritating my leg. So we still kept moving in that capacity. And just the closer it got, I showed up and I was just, my mindset was just, I'm going to show up, see what I got. I'm going to show up, connect with others, show up for others if they need me to. And so that was my mindset going in.
A big part of the Yomp is showing up for yourself too. Well, that is the part of the Yomp,
Yeah.
right? I don't think we've touched on what Yomp means. It means your own marching pace, right? So showing up for yourself is what it's all about at the end of the day, and being there to support others, right? Yeah. So you guys weren't able to train like distance at all?
No, the 9 miles was the longest I had hiked.
54 miles
before the Yomp.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how long?
9
miles total?
9.64
Was the
miles.
longest.
Yeah.
Then that was at the TAC event, huh? In March?
April.
April?
I want to
Yeah.
say April.
Yeah, when we did like a little 9.5, 10-mile hike.
Yeah, and then because he didn't train as much as he wanted to last year, but he still made it, and I was like, well, why not me too? Like, again, I just wanted to find out. I wanted to find out what I had.
Why not?
You know, and I will say that, is it easier or harder than you thought? Because a lot of people are like, oh, 54 miles, I could do it, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's hard. It's very difficult.
Bronze is hard.
And I would say that it's more like, it's probably up there, even if you were in special operations. It is definitely up there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these guys in the UK, so the Army Benevolent Fund is raising this puts on the event, right? 1,300 people showed up this year. And, you know, they have people over there in the UK special forces that are using that as a training event to get them ready for their selection courses.
Oh.
It's insane.
I think the British SAS selection is similar to the Yomp, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of those SAS dudes go in there for a pre-eval.
Which makes sense, yeah.
And they run it
Yeah.
in boots.
We've seen some guys running at night without flashlights.
Downhill.
Without their headlamps. They're
Downhill.
just running downhill at night in the sheep fields. I'm like, they must know this terrain fairly well. Or they're just rods and cones are just locked in and they can see everything. But no, it's this year. This year I feel was harder. It was harder this year because speaking of 22 being, or what was it, 25 you said?
It was around 25.
Yeah, I damn near the demons are a little bit louder in my head this year to stopping at bronze because my knee was jacked up. I was going so slow. I ended up seizing up because I didn't drink enough electrolytes. About mile, I don't know, 12 or so.
Oh no!
And then so I was like literally like just opening up the elements and just freaking chugging them and drinking water until I started to unlock. And then my knee just started. But yeah, a lot of people passed me. And then I was at bronze. I asked Adam, and I think I asked Adam, I was like, have you seen Sandy? Because for a couple of reasons, I wanted her to have her own experience, right? And I didn't want to jack it up, right? You know, like we're too close to the problem or what have you. So I kind of want to have her experience. So I left ahead, right? And it just so happened she called to me at bronze because my old ass started like.
Just so happens, huh?
Yeah. And I asked Adam, I was like, hey, haven't seen Sandy because I was concerned about her because of her injury. And then he was like, she's like 30 minutes back, but she's doing great. And then like, I don't know, it seemed like 2 minutes later, she just comes in the tent right when it starts raining. And like it kind of just like, I was excited to see her, one. And then two, it kind of put a little pep in my step, you know, because I knew she was going to go on and I didn't want her to do it alone. So I just kind of got my gear. I just got some potatoes and then just started chopping up potatoes, just swapping out my socks. And then we headed out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when I saw you walking, you were just completely in your zone, Sandy. I feel like I like said something and you were like, didn't even look at me. You just ran off.
Flow state.
I ain't got time.
Flow state. Yeah.
So, like, what were you thinking too? I mean, when you got to bronze, what was your kind of assessment?
So for the most part, I kind of walked mostly alone to the 22 to bronze. My knees started hurting before mile 10, but I realized even on the downhills when it was worse, if I just kind of shuffled downhill, it didn't hurt as bad. So I felt like I kind of made up some time with there. But when I got to bronze, and I was surprised he was there, so when I was happy to see him and just, like you said, change our socks, eat something. And in my mind, I was just like, okay, now the challenge begins. Mm-hmm. I almost feel some kind of way by saying the 22 was not that hard for me.
Yeah.
I felt like, because like you said, I was just so determined. And even with my sticks, I was just like, I'm fucking doing this.
Yeah.
And it was like, when I get fatigued, just keep that technique. As long as you got technique, you'll be as efficient as possible. And so that's was my mindset to 22. And then when we left, it was pouring, freezing rain. I hate the cold, but I was just like, bring it, just bring it.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to experience the rain this year because it just really adds another suck factor to it.
Yeah.
It really does.
It was cold rain too.
It was.
Yes.
It was 45 degrees out. The rain was about the same. Made it that much colder.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys get caught in the hail too? When it started raining for me and Aaron, it was about 20 minutes of solid hail. Oof. We were out in the open.
Not this year. Last year I got some hail.
Did you? Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a tough hike. The weather could definitely, throw a complete wrench in your plans as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing that, I mean, I've heard you talk about the Yomps because you've had, like you said, 12 already? 11.
Yeah.
So to see like the variations in weather, right, over those 12 years, and that's something I always keep in mind is like, and just be open, right, and ready and have the right gear to kind of set you up for it. But yeah, it was definitely challenging on many levels, especially not sure how we were going to react and if I was going to slow her down or what have you. But it was pretty awesome just to kind of just go literally like a step at a time and just kind of push through it and slide at times. I ate shit twice on the marshes.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to avoid the water because there was a lot more water this time. Or the bog, and then I would try to stay on the slope, and my feet just went out from under me. Wow. But it was a good time.
It's just frustrating, isn't it? And you're all by your lonesome out there. And just
well, she was right behind me, so she saw me eat shit. So
at least I remember when I went through the bogs, I was completely by myself, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I'm like, you're out there.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing.
Yeah.
And you're wet, and you're just miserable, and
that's where it was last year. I was by myself through there.
Yeah. And you're like, if I roll an ankle, I'm gonna have to walk out. You know what I mean?
Walk out or crawl out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, that was a rough one. So I want to kind of touch base on the mental health component of that. Is like, I mean, we had 65 people go this year, 65 veterans, and I think a lot of times you go with a goal in mind, to go to the distance, the 54, and you'd say I think we had 12 people that volunteered to go to gold, and only about 4 or 5 made it. Maybe 4 or 5 made it to gold.
I think it was maybe more.
Six.
Because it was me, you, Tori, Matt, Adam, and then Steven, and 2 other
JP.
people.
RJ made it too. Okay, so
RJ.
we had
Maybe
a good group.
eight.
Yeah, good
About
group.
9. I
Yeah.
think.
8 or 9.
8 or 9, which is a good
Yeah.
group. But once again, it's not 65, right? I mean, a lot of people, they have this in mind. Oh, I could do it. I was in the military, right? Proper equipment is a real thing. I think sticks, you have to have sticks for that.
Yeah,
that training.
mandatory
Yeah.
out there.
Yes.
And especially, a lot of people, I see, they're like, oh, I don't need sticks for the first 22 miles. And I'm like, you need sticks for the first 22 miles so that the back miles, you're not feeling it then. But a lot of people go into it and they just, I'm not making it this year. So it usually takes 2 years to get into it. But what are some of the mental things that are going on? When do you start seeing, the physical go away and now you're fighting the mental demons, as you said earlier?
Go.
Like I said, when I started, I felt just mentally focused, just very like that gritty determination. I felt like I started out with that, and I was going to see if I could maintain it throughout the whole thing.
Sure.
Like I said, when the physical pain came, honestly, for me, it was a mental, emotional thing. Before we left to the Yomp, I kind of set the intention thinking like, no physical pain is going to hurt as bad as when I lost one of my younger sisters in 2006. Like having to bury her and all that, and even the way that, she died. So that going in, that was my mindset. Like nothing's going to hurt me worse than that. And if there's going to be people around me that have suffered that emotional pain too, and they're going to be just going hard every step, then I can do that too.
Sure.
So
yeah, finding something to pull that strength from. Mm-hmm. It's important. Was that at the forefront of your mind during the hike, or were you just okay.
Like just kind of laying that foundation before all the aches and pains started to come.
Sure.
So that carried me, and then like all of it. But what grew stronger towards the end was especially when him and I were together. Mm-hmm. I think especially after silver, we left silver, just me and him together. Before, when we left bronze, it was us, Adam, and I think another girl. Mm-hmm. But from silver, we head out together, and he literally just lit and led the way for me the rest of the path. And to me, it was a very meaningful, mental, emotional, spiritual thing because of his accomplishment last year, and just him being the newer version of who he is and who he wants to be. And for me, it's hard to let people help me, to let people do stuff for me. So I just saw it as an opportunity, not only as like him being my husband, but also a fellow veteran, seeing him with those eyes. Because I did go into this like, okay, who am I going to show up for? Who am I going to inspire? And who am I going to help? But I never thought of anybody helping me.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, so me like allowing him, or just opening up and letting go and just letting him do that for me was pretty awesome.
It seems like you guys both showed up for each other too. I mean, you crossed the finish line together, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had no expectations. We talked about it before.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
And I was like, I'm totally not like, wait for me. You better not leave me behind. Mm-hmm. I think over the course of the past 7 years, we've developed or embraced that, where you are your own individual. I am my own individual. And the stronger and better we can be as individual people for ourselves, that just means we're going to be stronger for each other, stronger for our family and our community. So it's kind of our duty, our heart's duty to ourselves to do that, and then be able to reach out and provide the help or the inspiration or motivation or encouragement that you want to give to others.
For sure. Yeah. Unequivocally. I mean, it makes sense showing up for yourselves, showing up for each other at the same time, right?
Yeah.
To build that up and to maybe not finish as fast as you might want to, or to hold up for each other is important as well. I think what you guys did for your relationship there, by putting your own stuff on the back burner to focus on each other, that's super important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the first time I heard that, so I was taken a little bit aback from that perspective. Thought somebody's cutting onions in here. My eyes started getting a little watery. But yeah, it was definitely a unique and significant experience. And I think we were there for each other on different levels. Like I needed her at bronze before I even thought I did, because, all the things started playing in my head. Like, oh man, your knee's really hurting. should I wait for Sandy or should I just stop? You know, everyone's having a good time. I could just, you know, I did go last year. I don't need to do it again. What am I trying to prove? Right?
That's
hot chow.
And that every time I get to bronze, I've already done it. Why do I need to do it again? I'm good. Yeah, I'll take the fish and chips in 25 minutes.
I get to hang out with everyone. You start to rationalize, right? Like, maybe I get to, I don't know, get to know someone or talk to them, have a conversation, and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
But then there's the other thing in the back of my head, like, no, you could still go. Mm-hmm. You could still go, and kind of like it's different reasons, but the emotional pain and physical or mental pain that I was in back in 2017, like all the injuries I've had mountain biking and everything else is like, it's not as painful as that anguish that I was in, right? And it's like, I can deal with the physical pain. I don't want to be right there. So if this is going to keep me away from that, then I'm going to keep moving forward and continue to challenge myself. But this year was more so like, there was a personal record I had in my mind. Like I wanted to do it before better than last year, right? And I remember like at one point letting that go because I was like, no, I want her to make her goal, right? I could have left her because she was telling me like, just go ahead without me. I'm like, no. Like part of me in my brain, I was like, yeah, I could go and then come back for her. Mm-hmm. But I was like, after a while, I was like, you know what? I just let that die. I was like, you know what? Like we'll finish together. I don't care what time it is or whatever. But to see her and allow her the space to decide for herself whether she wants to continue on or not, because there was a wall she hit like at 5 miles left, and I was kind of like, whether it's selection or whatever, like tap out, right? I was kind of like that DI or whoever. It's just kind of like, there's an ambulance right there. You can lay down. They could probably take care of you.
There was.
Yeah, I was like, we only got 5 miles left. They could probably just give you a ride back. There's coffee, there's food.
There's the quick outs.
Yeah, but I was seriously just trying to not convince her but provide her the opportunity and like to decide one way or another. I got your back either way. Yeah. If you want to tap out or whatever, like.
Yeah, he was even like, I'll carry your pack. Yeah,
I was trying to carry her pack, which I don't know, 3 miles into, after not carrying her pack, I'm like, I'm glad she didn't let me carry her pack. Because they changed the course this year and it was the original course.
Yeah.
And the last 5 miles was probably like the hardest because I didn't expect to go through the woods. She was like, how much more we got? I'm like, yeah, we're almost done. And then we come out tomorrow, like, fudge, man, we still got. Yeah. And every time I kept saying, oh, we only got a little bit more. And then I remember a different part. I'm like, oh my God. So I had to keep telling her, you know what, I jacked up. I don't know how much more longer we got.
I don't know what's worse, is just brutal honesty. Like, hey, you got 8 miles left, or it's around the corner for 8 miles.
Yeah.
Brutal honesty. Yes. Way better.
Yeah,
I agree.
Aaron kept doing that to me too. He's like, it's just over this bend. And we get around the bend. He goes, maybe it's the next one. And we're looking like, there's not a bend for 2 miles, dude. What are you talking about? And we get to that bend. He's like, actually, I think it's one more. Like, stop. Just stop saying it. Yeah. Just let me get there.
The Scots too, man, I asked him, it was last year. We get to the station 7, which is where if you stop, mile 7, you stop and you just get eaten alive by the
the
midgies.
That place sucked.
Yeah, exactly. So you just got to keep moving on that. But I asked him once last year. I said, "Do you guys just make it up and say it's just around the bend?" And she literally did. She's like, "Yeah, we do it so that we motivate you guys." And I'm like, "You're not motivating anybody. You're just making it worse for everybody." So the Scottish mile coined term from that one because. Yeah, if they say that, you could just add, times to it,
So I think John Turner had his, and then Posh had his GPS or whatever on tracking the miles. They were like, it was actually like 60.
Total, this year.
I think 58 or something.
Yeah, it was something up there. And I was like, I felt every damn bit of that. Yeah. It makes more sense.
The elevation gain, too, is what's surprising. Right. Like, I think mine was totally off. It said something like 8,000 feet elevation gain for the bronze, which I don't think is accurate. But it did say 8,000 feet between everything that we did just in that short mile. So for that short 25.
And it's straight up.
That last bit.
Yeah, the Glen Shee Pass, essentially.
That was the best part. The view at the top of that.
Oh, yeah.
was
Yeah.
Worth it. But then
incredible,
what's funny is you see the bronze tent, like from the top of this mountain. You're like, it's just right there. And that's 3 miles away, 3-4 miles away. And straight downhill.
Yeah.
So you have to like run it or your knees are shot.
Dude,
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
gingerly walking down. I had to stop a few times.
Did you?
And, yeah, like some of the guys were like, we thought you were done. Like, we thought you were done at the bronze tent. I was like, dude, I was damn near close to being done at the bronze tent. But yeah, you're
To
right.
get a second win like that is incredible, to be honest.
Yeah.
Most people are just like, I'm done.
Especially when you got ride right there and you got food right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's your out.
Right when I took off, I saw everybody in the van. I saw some of the guys in the van, and I was just like,
damn.
Cheers. Yeah.
Missed the bus.
So from a kind of a mentor perspective, and seeing this grow from we brought a roughly 25 last year to 65 this year. You had a little bit more responsibility coming into this as someone who's done it before, who's experienced it, and is supposed to help out your left and right, to be successful in that. What was your experience as far as the kind of the types of people that came, where their mental headspace was, and how you use kind of your mentor spot to help these guys?
So I definitely, it's a great question. Because I thought a lot about that, right? Like, what is your expectation, right? Or Robert Irvine's expectation of a mentor, right? And what are some of the things I could share with the individuals other than like packing their kit and stuff like that? So I thought about that question quite a bit coming up to it. And I just found the opportunities, whether, were you with us on that little hike we went across the bridge, across the water, and we had that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he was there.
Okay. So it was like finding the
I showed you guys where it was.
yeah, there you go. So it was like finding the right moments to share, like whatever I had in that way. And it was one of the things so firstly, we had like the gambit of people at different places, right? We have active folks that probably don't even realize what's upcoming in whether the career or like when they get out of the military or what have you. So they're just kind of in it, probably don't have time to really process what they're going through. And then we have folks that are just taking this on a challenge with other injuries. People that have been in for like 30 years. Some people that have been in for like 4 or 5 years in the service. And so we just kind of had a catch-all of them. And you can see, especially once you do the work and stuff, you can see yourself in some of these individuals.
Yeah.
So it's like picking the right amount of wisdom, I guess, to share with them, so that way it could benefit them. But it was one of the things that I shared with the folks that I had the opportunity to sit down with and talk to was to have an open heart, open mind, and like try to just absorb all you can from the experience, right? And to think of it more of a marathon. I mean, it's a double marathon. But just to enjoy the journey and just take in all the sheer beauty of what Scotland has to offer in the experience. Because I feel if you're able to do that and not have expectations, I mean, it's hard not to have expectations, but that kind of robs you of the experience, right? Because like, oh, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. But one thing I thought it was great and that you guys planned for is to have more time on the ground before and after, right? That way we have time to have some of these conversations and experiences and take in some of the sights and allow it to happen more organically. I mean, last year was fun on its own too, because I was just like a turn and burn, right? We're in, we're out, we do the thing, we're out. And we look like hell at the airport. But but at the same time, and that was its own unique experience because it like in the military, right? It kind of creates this like pressure cooker of an experience, and we all respond to it how we do, and then we kind of bond from that. But this year was a little bit more ramping up to it, prepared us, and we were able to share these nuggets of information, and then afterwards kind of trade things that helped us, like to recover or eat properly or what have you. So did I answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. How about you, Sandy? Was it?
Question.
You're awake?
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it was just about the other 65 people that you interacted with, how that went, and what your kind of experience was. A really cool part for me was when we did the dinner the night after. Was everybody got up and had a chance to talk about what their experience was, and mostly it wasn't about the trail; it was about what's going on in their head.
Or
Yeah.
other people too was
Yeah.
a big topic. A lot of people stood up and like I had an experience, but the only reason I made it was because of this person over here drugged me the whole time or motivated
Yeah.
me. Like a person that I just met, like Daryl, for instance. He had
Oh, yeah.
he had just met. I forget the woman's name. Who
Belle. Maybe it was Belle.
it was Christina.
Arabelle or
Christina.
something?
Oh.
It was Christine, I think.
Oh, okay.
Valentine.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
like they just met on the trail, and he was struggling a little bit. She goes, "All right, man, like I'm with you the whole time." She like basically drug him
Yeah.
through, and he was like, "I was not expecting some random lady that I met on the trail to just
Yeah.
like motivate me the whole way because I wanted to keep tapping."
It's the coolest thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
watching that was great. Like
Yeah,
being
I know
able
when
to
I
be there
was
for someone else.
sorry. I know when I was asked before
Yeah.
when I think we did when the hog
Yeah,
when we ate the smoked hog or whatever. I met almost all the females that were there, and they had all asked me like, well, what are you going for? I'm going for 22. It's my first time, and I was just like, well, I'm gonna go for the 54. I'm gonna try. I was like, and I think the main thing I wanted to pass on to them that I did was, just like shit happens in your life, a lot of bad stuff happens. Shit happens. That's why there's a phrase, and it's like it could be the opposite too. Like great shit could happen. Like you could pull this off. Like you don't know. Like if I kept repeating and repeating it, as long as you're open to the possibility of your own greatness, anything can happen. So I think a couple of them were kind of like, they never thought of it that way. But that was, I feel, my best piece of advice, having never done it, because that's what I was going there with. Like you never know. And if you just stay open to whatever's going to come and kind of, mental judo it, make it work for you or for someone else, then how could that be bad?
sure, yeah. Remaining open to experience. Yeah, I think that's something you both do very well, though. It's something that you guys have been, inspirations to a lot of others, especially through Derp Therapy Project, through doing things like the Yomp. I mean, you guys are constantly helping with other nonprofits. You guys are at every event, an outdoor event. I see you guys and stuff, a couple times a week. It seems like you guys are out doing things. So you guys are great inspirations when it comes to being open to experience and telling other people that that's okay as well.
Yeah.
I think you guys do a great job at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's something like we don't even realize we do because we're just doing it. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Just awesome.
No.
Yeah.
I wake
I wake up every morning.
I'm pissed,
Exactly.
No, but
It's taken practice.
no, it has.
A lot
I
of
mean,
practice.
because somebody said on the trip is like I'm a. I forgot how he said it, but he was pretty much saying like I'm a practicing extrovert or something like that. Because we had to override our natural inkling to be introverts, or just by. So when we decided to kind of be in the space and to share or be there for others or vice versa, or whatever, be there for ourselves, we had to learn how to engage in conversation. Like I can talk to anybody, but it's hard for me to start the conversation with a stranger because it feels
Interesting
awkward.
that you have that because I have the opposite. As I try to introvert my extrovert. I do because it's just like let's rein it into a circle that matters. Like
Yeah.
keep it closer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just like spill your energy off to
So-
the universe.
I'm learning that because as with anything, right? It's you kind of gotta like pick your spots, right?
Yeah.
And if you, especially like kind of you guys highlighted, we're in so many different places in the way of like people. We often kind of pour. Well, I'll speak for myself. I pour out my cup too much, and then I have to just isolate and then kind of fill my cup and whatever.
Recharge.
Recharge. Thank you.
That's exactly, yeah. I know exactly that feeling.
So understanding like how to curate that circle is kind of becoming more evident now. That's important. And not to say that, but it's just important that you have that group that recharges you, right?
Shameless plug, the Whoop. I love the Whoop for this reason, because it kind of gets your mindset into a battery mindset, right? Is if I'm 30% recovered today, you like think of it as your cell phone. If you woke up with 30% on your cell phone, you'd be pissed, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, I can't really make that many calls, and I'm definitely not scrolling through Instagram all day. Right. So thinking of it as that concept is, you can't, it's not beneficial for a battery to go to zero. It's not good for it. Right. So being able to say, hey, I'm at my 30% today. Let's take it, 50% slower than we normally do. I think it's important because, at the end of the day, we're in a marathon, right? And people rely on us to have that energy so that we could make positive changes and impact in people's lives. I mean, if you showed up to the Yomp at a zero battery, and it's really easy to do, right? You guys are on the road all the time. So how do you find that balance for yourself?
Go for it.
I guess for me, it's being honest with myself and at the same time not being too hard on myself. If I'm feeling smoked or I realize I'm a little irritable, or when I just get fumbly with stuff, it's like, okay, like, you know what you need to do. And we've already been down the road of not taking care of ourselves, not recharging and replenishing.
Sure.
So it's kind of like what you said earlier, like you have to focus on yourself if you're trying to focus and help others. And I guess that's the way I make it feel not okay, but like I'm honoring both my body and the people I want to help by nourishing myself. Like that's going to nourish others. So it's like if I nourish myself and take care of myself and strengthen myself, then I can do that for others. And that's how I give myself permission to do that. I don't know if that's good or not. But
absolutely good. It's the oxygen mask theory.
Yeah.
Put yours on before you put somebody else's on.
Yeah, and it really is hard to balance just that because it's like, am I being selfish? You're in the military. It's like service before self at all times. And now you're like, well, now I got to put myself first so I can be of value in my service.
But it's kind of interesting that you said earlier that you showed up to the Yomp expecting to be there for other people. And you found that you had to go back into yourself a little bit to find that. So I think that it's really important to note as well as the selfless service that you have. It's easy to think about the other person than yourself first, right?
Yeah, because it's easier because it's a distraction almost from yourself. Like you don't want to have to deal with certain things or what have you. So
we're always harder on ourselves than other people, right? It's like you would say the same things like, hey, it's okay. There's an ambulance there, blah, blah, blah. But if you ask yourself that internal question, you'd be like, you're being a little bitch right now.
F the ambulance.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll push the ambulance.
Yeah, I ain't getting in that ambulance, but yet you give that to other people. Yeah. So sometimes we got to remind ourselves is to give ourselves the advice that we would give other people.
Or grace too, right? The same grace we allow to other people.
So that's the hard one, right? It's like giving advice to people and then like, hey, are you doing this? Before you give it out, and then it's like checking yourself, but at the same time, like finding that balance and finding the grace within it, like and like, well, taking all things, consider all things, because if not, you start hallucinating. You push through too hard. That's what we experienced on the Yomp. Is after being up a while, was the hallucination from being so tired. So I started seeing faces like in the rocks and stuff. And so I joked with one of the guys that passed us earlier, one of the special forces guys or whoever. And I was like, man, these hallucinations are trippy. And he's like, yeah, I'm seeing faces coming out of the walls. And he just kept going. But did you experience that too?
I would see like creatures running like across the path.
Oh, creepy.
That's good. That means you're pushing yourself pretty good.
Yeah, the last 15 miles was hard. The last 10, I started to get nauseous and everything was hurting, mainly my knees and my feet, and then just the dry heaving, the stopping and leaning on my sticks and bending over to stretch.
Yeah.
It was, at that point, it's just like the pain's not going away.
No.
It's not going to go away. So just
And
keep
there's a
going.
point where your brain literally shuts off its niceties and you're just angry, right? Did you get to that point?
Yeah, that's
That's
I
where
took
I
it out on
cried
my
for
sticks.
15 miles.
Yeah, I started crying the last 5 miles, but as much as I wanted to cry, I just dug it into those damn sticks. And after it was over, I was like, I never want to see these sticks ever again.
You'll come to love them.
Thank you, Sticks.
I know she had you injured your finger, right?
Yeah, I think I strained one of the tendons in my
God.
left hand.
Did you burn through them? A lot of people would get the blisters.
Because I got the cork ones.
Yeah.
Smart move.
Nice.
Smart move.
Took that
Yeah.
advice, gave it to her. I didn't have the cork ones just yet.
Yeah, I wonder who gave you that advice.
So yeah, those were, and I saw somebody ask you guys before the Yomp, like, well, do I really need my sticks the first? Maybe it was you and Adam, and then the way that y'all started laughing, that scary, creepy, like, and I was like, I'm getting my sticks out right now.
You need the sticks.
Yes.
You need
So I
them.
started
You
with
need
them.
them on it, and you know what? It is all a mental game, and one of the great things about it is it brings back that kind of mental and military camaraderie a little bit. But if you're used to pushing yourself physically, where you could dip into the mental aspect of things, I think it's going to make tasks a little bit easier in the future, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like that hill before bronze, we've done with our dirt therapy retreats, we've done a trail called Lost Lake, and it's in Angel Fire, New Mexico, and the first 7 miles are uphill.
Nice.
So you're riding. I mean, you're on a bike, but
Yeah.
still, and it goes
Riding
up
uphill.
to 10,000 feet for elevation that day. Yeah, so it's, to me, that was relatable. I was like, I have the confidence, I have the capability to do this. It's just going to be slow, but just stay steady and you got it.
Yeah, you need difficult experiences to anchor yourself to,
Yes.
right? Like that.
Exactly.
You know, hey, I could dig into this memory where I was mentally kind of in the same space to overcome that. I think that's why it's important to challenge ourselves. You know, really do something hard so that you have a baseline. And that
Yes.
baseline should change every
Yep.
time, right?
Right.
If you do 54 miles, that's your new baseline. I know now where I could be.
Yep.
Right.
And it's easy to quit physically. It's easy.
And that's a double-edged sword with it. It's like after you, like I said earlier, like we did it, kind of appreciated for that day or so, and then instantly was like, all right, what's next? You know what I mean? Because it's that double-edged sword, right? Like, all right, I want to challenge myself more, but at the same time, it's just like you don't appreciate what just happened because you don't want to live in that too long, I guess. I don't know what that is, but it's definitely trying to appreciate for what it is and then move on in the right appropriate time, I guess.
I think it's gratitude is what it is. Yeah, reflecting on the thing that you just accomplished. I mean, it was a lot of time leading up to it. It was a lot of effort. It was a big accomplishment. It's not something you want to brush off. Like,
Right.
okay, well, you know, what's on to the next thing? Like, I think it's important to
Yeah.
stop and reflect on that because it's a tremendous amount of effort. It's a tremendous accomplishment to make it through that, you know, both physically and mentally to make it through onto the gold. It's not an easy feat. So reminding yourself of that, being proud of yourself, being proud of each other. It's okay to revel in that for a little bit.
Yeah, and then also like
It's important.
as a couple, like I talked about this before, it's like I'm not for nothing. I just kind of reflect on my own past relationships, the ones that weren't so great. And I don't know, getting an argument in a store over something stupid, right? As opposed to we're going through it physically, mentally, hungry, tired, cold.
Yeah.
And I don't think we argued once. Did we argue? And if
We
so,
almost did one time.
where was that at?
I don't know. He asked me for a piece of candy or something.
It's my candy.
Shut up.
Should have brought your
But
own.
we caught ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, you're gonna be a little irritable out of the trail. Like,
yeah.
it's okay. Like, that's fine. Well, on the gratitude thing, while I'm thinking of it, Simon, and not to challenge you or anything, but the gratitude piece. Not moving on too quickly. How are you still proud of? Let me ask you. I'll pose it this way. Are you proud of Sandy still for what she's accomplished?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why aren't you that for yourself? Right, and that's
Because I did it last year.
okay.
Even though they changed the course, and I feel like this year was unique, challenging on its own because it was more technical, especially navigating through the woods and down trees and stuff. But I don't know. Again, I think it goes back to what you highlighted earlier. It's easier to appreciate or like to focus on others rather than yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's also like that underlying thing, right? It's like stay humble, you know what I mean? Where you don't want to, you don't know where that line is, being too boastful at the same time. It's like, all right, so I don't know. So talking about it too much, it makes me feel weird, right? And then like talking about it to Lisa, it makes me feel weird. So I think I'm still trying to navigate that buffer zone.
To not advertise like how great I am. Look at what I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
But at the same time, like prisoners deserve some recognition for their accomplishments throughout the day too, right? Like they deserve a couple of hours of break. They deserve to feel good throughout the day. Like, and that's the bottom of society. Why not you too?
Yeah. Who's going to carry the candy?
Yeah.
I think it's important to talk about it as well because you're an advocate for that program, right? Is to be able to educate other people what's going on there. You got to kind of talk about yourself.
Right.
That's a side effect of it.
which is uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah, it can be. And two, all this time in the military, they train that out of you.
Yeah,
that's true.
They've instilled and reissued you selfless service, and it should be thinking about your left and right over yourself. Go to the end for your team. So I think that's a little demilitarization as well. It's like retraining yourself how to love yourself, right? I think that's important. I think that's what a lot of people are focused on nowadays is why you have this pendulum that swings so to the side about mental health and, all of our traumas and all of our difficulties in therapy and stuff like that. It's just a calibration. Can't talk today. Recalibration of who we are and loving ourselves. So I think that's important. As you love Sandy, you should love yourself.
Right.
And to fall back on that educational purpose, right? I'll talk about myself so that other people can learn what this is all about.
Right. And that's one thing I'm learning to do, right? As we have conversations like this and with others, right, that know how to do it, are kind of like paving the way in that way and how to do it like in a healthy manner, right? One of the ways I was putting I have a video together because I had my GoPro on to just kind of share that experience, right? I used to do that with I still do that with TDTP.
Yeah.
To kind of share that experience for others, or like to get an idea, at least one person's perspective of said event to kind of raise awareness for it. But yeah, it's definitely something I am proud of for myself, and I'm still learning how to kind of settle in that. At the same time, you're learning how to use it to help others. Like, hey, man, you should really check out this event. It's life-changing, yada, yada, right? And kind of go on from there.
And what you go through, I mean, you've shared, last year you shared a piece that led to how many other opportunities to go share your story, talk about yourself a little bit more. And it's the same concept of, anyone who's been injured in the military and goes on to have a successful public speaking, job or whatever. You have to talk about yourself. And one, it helps with your therapy. I think, it takes away the power of, my traumatic experience being injured in the military. Every time I talk to it, I take the power away from that. And then I realized the power in helping other people see through some of the adversities that they face in comparison to that journey as well. So I think that's the balance is how are you doing it, right? It's okay to talk about yourself, but what's the intent behind it, right? If I'm looking for credit or clout or, someone to say, attaboy, that might be ego driven, right? But if I'm doing it so that I could share my misery to showcase, hey, you could get through it too, that's the best intent of them all, right?
Right. And I like to think that that's where we try to share our stories in the way of life experiences. Just kind of like I usually say, like, I'm just throwing my crap on the table. If any of this could help you, then have at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do feel like we're not meant to go through this world alone. I mean, you can do it. Doesn't make it smart way to do it, because you're not seeing all the pieces to the puzzle, and you can see some of your pieces of the puzzle within somebody else's story to kind of help. Like, oh man, I didn't think about it that way, or what have you. So,
I mean, we're community driven people, right? We are. That's who we are. We need other humans to survive. Period. Even those who say they're lone wolves, like, yeah, you can't do it alone, right? So it's really important to kind of share those stories, share those journeys. That's why we're talking about the Yomp, you know. And next year we already have a goal of bringing 100 people to that. So growing it even more, which is great, and that's what it's about. So, but it's not just about specific programs like this. I like to bridge the gap with talking about adventure therapies, and it's what you do at Dirt Therapy Project too. Is it's not just doing a hike. It's not going for a swim or going fishing or going shooting to the range or going downhill mountain biking. It's putting people in a focused event where they don't have to focus on anything but the task at hand, and then giving them the space to talk and let the magic happen. And that's where the camaraderie and the stories start to flow, and some of the walls melt down that would typically be up and guarded at all times.
Right. Yeah, so like the Dirt Therapy Project is another avenue that we do that. We just did the first ever 2DTP with RWB on campus recently. We had about 30 vets. Nice. We did some trail boating. We also have some loaner bikes on campus. So the RWB folks or whoever didn't have a bike, they brought a bike to them. They kind of had their own group, and then we had our own group, and then we merged a little bit later with the more skilled riders that they had. But yes, to see people kind of in their corners, especially the new folks. And then like by the end of the event, they're all laughing and cutting jokes and then riding with each other. And it's just all it happens organically. We even like grilled out some food one of the evenings, bought some pizza another evening. And then the trail building aspect, it's really getting people back to like the earth, right? The dirt, like our nature, right? And that there's something that happens when you do that together and eat together and have these conversations, and then doing something hard together, right? And that's the icebreaker, right? We're there for bikes, being outside, and it was pretty awesome to witness and experience, and to kind of open a door for some of the people that haven't considered mountain biking as a outlet before.
Sure.
What are your experiences?
With what?
With 2DTP folks.
For Dirt Therapy, I mean, I've said it before, it truly just gave me the courage and confidence to change the direction of my life. At the time, I was a contractor for the Air Force here in San Antonio, and that just kind of, it was interesting work, but I wasn't interested in it anymore. You know, working in an office with no windows. So when he retired and bought a bike, I was like curious, like, what's this about? Like, why is he coming home with a big smile on his face, bleeding everywhere? Like, what's he doing out there? So I started, and at first I was terrified. I couldn't even go over like a curb.
Sure.
I was scared out of my mind, like death grip. But I liked that it challenged me in a different way. And so when I was challenged that way, I kind of got angry, and I was just like, I'm going to get better at this. Like, it just, I don't know. I really appreciated that friction for growth. So the more and more we rode, and then we started going on these retreats, beautiful places that we probably never would have even been able to go to. And just to experience the environment, the other veterans that were riding, that were always like encouraging me or leading the way, not rushing me, you know, being very respectful and heartfelt in everything that they did. It was just, it built me up so much that I was able to use that courage and confidence in other aspects of my life. And that's what gave me the courage to just quit my job and start a whole new a whole new career at the age of 37. And it's more in alignment with what I feel like I'm here to do with acupuncture and oriental medicine. I'm going to have my own community acupuncture practice as a way to pay it forward, to give back,
Awesome.
to still volunteer and have something even more of value that I can provide for others.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's, for me, when I think about TDTP, that's what I think about, like that this program gave me just the opportunity and the ability to make that bold decision and change my life, and it's led me here.
A lot of confidence. Yeah, it's instilled a lot of confidence in you in a good way. In a good way, I think.
Confidence is, I think that's a really good note on confidence, is that it's a slow build. You know, you don't just get on the bike and send it down the mountain. You don't do it.
I highly advise against that.
Simon does that.
Simon. But I think it's a note for those who are curious, that want to explore. You don't have to have any knowledge. No. You show up to an event like that, they'll give you you guys give the tools, you give the training, you guys give, I mean, the conversation that leads to that confidence as well. Hey, let's take this small, let's just get on the bike today, you know? So it's a broad range, broad spectrum of who you're helping, who's involved, and that confidence is built over time. It's not something that's innately inside of you, right? I mean, jumping out of planes, right? There's a lot of people that are like, why am I going to jump out of a perfectly good aircraft? But as you do it more, you're taking the power away from it. That fear translates and becomes confidence. So I think that's a beautiful note, is that it helps chip away, some of that fear, builds confidence slowly, where there's not a night and day difference, right?
Right.
It took time. How long did it take you before you started sending it down the mountain?
7 years already? I started riding in 2018, and I'm just getting comfortable doing the blacks.
The hardest
and
trails.
Other scary features.
That's only because she knows it's a black. I've seen her like rip down like fast, like lines that she didn't even know that were much sketchier than some of the blacks that she's done. But she's been killing it, and at the same time, like, been a beacon for other women that are, because mountain biking, there's a lot. I don't want to say there's a lot more men that are willing to do it and take the risks.
Certainly.
But for her to have that story and to be able to kind of be there and kind of be that beacon, if you will, to like, hey, I was there. I didn't even want to go over the lip of a curb at one time. Now I'm here or whatever. And I still, have these, and to be vulnerable, right, in that space, right, for them, to provide them the opportunity to be confident or show confidence through her story is pretty awesome. At least that's my third party viewpoint of it.
Yeah. Being an inspiration to others. It's important. You guys do it really well too. Through a multitude of ways. I think you guys have one of the best relationships that I've seen. You guys support each other. You guys support others. You're constantly there for other people. You guys really show up and you guys walk the walk.
Kind of boring.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. You guys here, always on the move, always doing things for other people, which is beautiful, and that's why we wanted you on today, is to talk about your experience, and I think what you did was unique, and I haven't seen it done. Like I said, I've done last 11 years on the Yomp and been with the foundation for a long time. To see you guys walk hand in hand to cross the finish line on a very difficult task, and then bring that energy into everything else that you do is beautiful. And that hard moment is going to echo and translate and resonate, frankly, with so many other people's lives because you experienced that. So thanks for getting on today and sharing your story. And I kind of want to get on a bike now to build confidence for myself.
I got a setup for you, dude.
I need the magnetic.
At the house.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I got some shoes too.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Let's do it.
Get you dialed.
First Thursdays, right?
Yeah, we can go
in 2 days.
one-on-one. We'll get you. I like to, because sometimes we have a group ride every Thursday, right? Like when we meet up, socialize, etc. First Thursday of the month. But then we do a lot of one-offs where we take people just on the greenway, get them really comfortable on the bike, set up their cockpit and everything so they're comfortable. So that way they have the best experience possible before we take them on the trails. To have like a controlled setting, if you will. So that way, because I just learned from my mistakes, trying to get people on too fast, too soon, and taking them on trails that were above their skill level. So we dialed that back and just go out and go at their pace, whether it's like 10 minutes or an hour, depending on wherever they're at, comfortability, and then really kind of get them settled into the bike and take it slow.
Awesome.
And where can people sign up for that if they would like to join?
So we have a Thursday ride every month. We meet up at Tommy John's. So we normally push it out on our Instagram pages. And there's also a TDTP Texas. It's a Facebook page you can sign up for. That's where we post our monthly rides. And the community rides, local events are open up to everyone. And we're also going to push out our Veterans Day event here in Texas here pretty soon on TDTP Texas. But if you want to go on, you can go to veteransfuturefoundation.org. And you can sign up for the retreats there. That's only for veterans.
Nice.
We also have 13 chapters around the United States, so North Carolina, Colorado, California, Florida, Pennsylvania. We're opening up one in Michigan, and you can find all of those on the website as well.
Awesome.
So if you are interested in meeting up with one of our local chapters, definitely look out to them and get out on bikes.
Fantastic. And then you're, of course, going to be a mentor of the Cateran Yomp for next year as well. So get ready for another 54 miles. So start training now. If anyone who is a veteran that wants to participate in this, go to robertirvinefoundation.org. You can learn about the Yomp program. It is the Cateran Yomp. The Army Benevolent Fund is the overarching charity, so you could read on their website as well. If you're interested, drop us a line and we'll get you guys out on the trail.
Sir, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You got it.
Thank you, guys. This has been the Medevac Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching today. Go ahead and interact with the content somehow. Share this, because I know you got something out of this episode. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
See you next time.